In Vermont, the man accused of shooting 3 Palestinian college students over the weekend had his arraignment in the last hour. He pleaded not guilty. According to authorities, the students were out walking when the suspect fired at them, quote, without speaking, end quote. 2 of the victims are now in stable condition, but the third is more seriously injured. Their families, along with civil rights organizations, are calling for an investigation into possible bias by the attacker. And the family's lawyer says this was a clear case of a targeted attack.
From our understanding and from our read of the facts, hate and the ethnicity and the race of these individuals did play a factor in them being targeted. And I think as the investigation plays out and as we get deeper into, the suspect's mindset, we're going to clearly see that this was a hate crime.
Our Polo Sandoval is following this for us in Burlington, Vermont. Polo, very difficult news to come to this morning. What's the latest?
Well, at least all 3 are alive, though at least one of them is in critical condition at last check, and 2 others are stable. And we'll tell you a little bit more about these 3 young men in just a second. But first, Casey, let me get you and our viewers the latest that just came out of court a few moments ago. It's 48-year-old Jason Eaton, who actually lives on the block that you see behind me, which is where that shooting took place. He faced a judge, entered a plea of not guilty to 3 charges of attempted murder. In addition to that, a judge ordered that he be held without bond until the next hearing. So he will remain behind bars while this investigation presses forward as authorities here in Burlington seek to answer that key question of what the motive was. Now, when you hear from the families of these 3 young men identified by an organization that's working with the family as Tashin Ali Ahmad, Kinan Abdelhamid, and also Hisham Awartani, who are the 3 young men that are seen in a photograph that's been shared by their family. That photo, Casey, actually taken just moments before the shooting itself. And in that photo, you could see that traditional Palestinian scarf that the families believe may have made them a target. In the meantime, though, investigators here in Burlington saying that they are not at the point of this investigation where they can conclusively say that this is the latest potential Islamophobic incident, a violent incident that took place. They say more evidence needs to be gathered at this point. But one more thing that I can also tell you about what took place just yesterday when they arrested Eaton, the suspect in this, according to some newly released arrest records that I just had an opportunity to read through literally in the last few moments, it paints a clearer picture of how that arrest went down. And according to that court document that I've had an opportunity to review, it was local police together with ATF agents that actually made their way to the house of the suspect, which is just to my left shoulder, right in front of where the shooting happened, that they made their way into the home after investigating. And inside that house, they found a .380 pistol. Now it's going to be up to ballistics to determine if it's the same pistol that was used in the shooting of these 3 young men that are recovering in a hospital.
All right, very, very difficult. Polo Sandoval in Burlington, Vermont. Thank you very much for that brand new reporting. Let's bring our panel in now. We are joined by Republican strategist Doug Heye and CNN political commentator Maria Cardona. Susan Page also back with us. Thank you all for being here. Maria, this was just a very, very difficult thing that happened in Burlington, Vermont.
So awful. And I think it just shows you just how this horrendous foreign war is affecting people here in the United States. And it's, I think, one of the most difficult issues facing the administration, but also facing the American people, just because of the history, because of the changing demographics in so many of these states. And frankly, the hate on both sides, the Islamophobia, the anti-Semitism, and how personal it is becoming, and it is really, I think, taking a toll on people's daily lives. And so I think this is one of the most difficult issues that leaders, both from a local standpoint as well as a national standpoint, are going to be facing. And there's no question that this is a hate crime. There's no question that hatred of this kind, or at least that's what they're saying.
Let me just push pause, because I do want to be a little bit careful here.
Sure.
Since we're talking about ongoing investigations, because we don't know yet the motive of this man who was arraigned. Here's what Merrick Garland had to say at the Department of Justice earlier today.
Even as we speak, the ATF and the FBI are investigating the tragic shooting of 3 men of Palestinian descent in Vermont. That investigation, including whether this is a hate crime, is ongoing.
So of course, the involvement of the Department of Justice, the FBI, in this way suggests that obviously they are taking things very seriously, as Maria was outlining.